Hi, Jane here. Thanks for joining me. I'm a huge fan of empowering you, as are the speakers in our Go Big series. Have you stopped to think recently what you really want in your life? Do you feel like you were meant for more, as I had for so many years? What's the big goal that you want to achieve this coming year, or a fear that you finally want to get over? If you're ready to re-envision your future and launch your big idea, maybe spread your influence or get over a fear finally, then I invite you to join me and some of our speakers. We want to help you empower your mindset, build your vision, and own your dream. Stop needing to be right and let's do this now, together. Go to janeapplegath.com, click on Go Big Sign Up, and I will see you there. Sending you much love and success. Have an incredibly epic day. Hope to see you soon. Hi, everyone. I'm Jane Applegath. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone, where some of the world's most successful self-made women and men share their multi-million-dollar ideas, high-performance habits, visionary mindsets, and resources so you can hit the go button on your epic life. Colin Hightower said, "When performance exceeds ambition, the overlap is success." Today's epic female entrepreneur is Coach Tiffany Taylor, a mindset and holistic productivity expert whose mission is to help high achievers reach peak performance, thus empowering them to reach their full potential in all areas of their life. Tiffany's signature stress-less bioscheduling method teaches high performers how to overcome scheduling stress and fatigue so that they can optimize their focus and energy physically, mentally, and spiritually. Drawing on her formal education, her corporate management experience, coaching certifications, and her struggles with ADHD, Tiffany's goal to teach heart-centered individuals how to reach the most productive version of themselves is not only her mission, but her life's passion. Welcome, Tiffany. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Likewise. Well, I can't wait to get started. So, you have a unique backstory that makes your coaching not just relevant, but so valuable in today's overworked and overstressed world. Tell us a little bit about your early self-growth journey.
Right. So I dove into personal development very early on. As you know, as we talked about before this podcast recording, I experienced some childhood trauma. I was raised mostly by my single mom, and that resulted in PTSD, generalized anxiety disorder, ADHD, OCD, trichotillomania, and panic attack disorder. So I got handed a great deck of cards in the beginning. And really, I was put in a position early on as a teenager that I could either break under pressure or I can break through the pressure and create a totally different life for myself. And I chose the latter. And the way I did this is I left high school at 15. I went into college at 16. I was managing a restaurant with 60 employees under me by the age of 17. I left America. I decided to leave America when I was 18. And on my 19th birthday, I was on a one-way flight to Milan, where I was planning to live. And then I traveled to 20 countries before turning 20. I ended up coming back to America and getting my corporate job, but only a year and a half before I fully burnt out and found myself in a hospital bed with burnout physically. My organs shut down from the stress. And it's through all of these things that I learned productivity is so much more than what they show in the books. There's so many gray areas. There's so much about what happens when life happens. How do you be productive then? And it really led to me diving into personal development and learning about scheduling my time. And in fact, I really credit proper time management and scheduling and understanding the ability to activate the parasympathetic nervous system with, leading to a lifestyle for me where I could release my anxiety entirely. And having proper nutrition and great sleep and great exercise is what released me of really feeling most of the effects of ADHD unmedicated. So you could say I had to overcome a lot of things very on in life. Most people who do experience burnout don't experience that until their midlife. So I like to say I lived a lot of life very fast. And through overcoming these things and having these life experiences that it really allows me to bring my own personal experience to the table along with my coaching skills to help my clients.
That is incredible. All of the issues that you had to overcome. And that's why I said at the beginning that this really isn't just a mission for you. This is your passion, because you've lived with so much at such a young age that you had to learn how to overcome them. And it's wonderful that you did it holistically rather than by medication, because as we know, that just doesn't address it doesn't address the issue. It just masks it. Becoming a young entrepreneur, you stepped into this role really early in your life. And I have a couple of questions here. That one, what sparked and motivated you to step into that? I know there's a great story behind it. And the other is it's about setting goals, because I know that that's part of your teaching and why they are so important for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say one of the biggest challenges that clients and potential clients come to me with is, Tiffany, I have so many things to do and I have all the lists, but everything on my list seems to be important and urgent. I can't possibly prioritize. Or if they have a little bit less self-awareness, to say, I just don't have enough time, right? Those two, both phrases mean the same thing at the end of the day. So if everything's seeming important and urgent, it tells me that you're lacking clarity in either your goals or your vision and values. There's some sort of lacking clarity in the foundation, because when you have a SMART goal set, that's a goal that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. It should be very easy for you to look at your list and decide, is this, the most important thing I need to do that's going to move the needle in me progressing towards my goals. So you really want to have those goals set and specific. That way you don't find yourself grinding in the cycle of having too much to do, not having enough time, and then not getting anywhere, which is what I see very often with productivity. And something I think you were referring to my post earlier as well, and that is, you can't be productive without having goals. And I think this is a point I really like to drive home, and it's that productivity is not a feeling, right? Productivity should be something that's measurable for you, depending on how you've defined it for yourself, but it shouldn't be a feeling. I feel productive today should not be a phrase, because what that's going to do is that's going to create an association in your mind that being busy and maybe overwhelmed and anxious and getting too much done in one day means productivity, and associating that with being a good thing. You don't want to be in a position where you're associating stress and overwhelm and burnout with the good feeling of being productive, right? You can be productive without feeling those negative things. And the other question you asked was, what motivated me to step into entrepreneurship? Um, Long story short, when I was 19, I moved to Milan, and I thought I had my whole life planned out, because I did. I thought I would go to this amazing top 5 economics and finance university in Milan. I would get an incredible job with an amazing sign-on bonus afterwards. And, I would have this happy, healthy, financially wealthy lifestyle. And that was like my dream, right? I wanted to climb the corporate ladder and be that amazing, power woman who's breaking through glass ceilings and changing the way people work. That's not what happened in that way. I found myself spending my life savings on that move to Italy, paying the tuition and all the things, losing the opportunity to stay there due to the Italian consulate making mistakes in my paperwork in Miami, and me not having the actual time to go back and fix it. I was basically, Jane, put in a position where I was told I have 2 weeks to fly back to Atlanta, where my high school was, to get new paperwork, which was a 3-week process. I would then have to take it into the city to the county court clerk office. I would then have to fly with the paperwork to Miami, get it reprocessed, which was another 1-month process, and then fly back to Milan within 14 days in order to stay at the university. So I was in an impossible position, and I've just lost everything. And that's not a good position for anyone to be in, let alone someone who has extreme anxiety, stress, and panic attack disorder. So you could say I hit a very low low. But luckily at this time, I was introduced to the book 4-Hour Work Week. And this book, let alone, changed my life. It changed the way I viewed everything, and it encouraged me to go deeper in my thinking than any conversation has ever pushed me. It encouraged me to ask the question, what are you really afraid of? This fear of failure. What is the failure that you're afraid of? What is the absolute worst case scenario? And do you have the strength to handle it? And then it also encouraged me to ask the question, beyond financial wealth, what is it you're working for? What is it the money's going to buy you that you really want out of life? And no one had ever asked me that either. Kind of money was the last thing I was really working towards at the time, given being raised in poverty and, having to work really hard. So when I was asked these two questions and I expanded my mind, I realized that really what I wanted, if money was no object, I wanted the financial freedom, I wanted the time freedom, and I wanted the geographic freedom. I wanted all of the currencies, time, attention, and energy. I didn't just want money. And then I was able to realize that I could achieve that and obtain all of those things without the salary before university. And that's what I went out to do. I set out a goal. I said, let me do something crazy this year. I'm going to go to 20 countries before turning 20, which sounded absurd because I didn't know anyone who traveled that much before. But what that did was that put me in a position to start saying, well, if that's what I'm going to do, I have to figure out the how. And I'm going to have to know a lot more than I know right now. So it put me in a position to ask questions that I wouldn't have otherwise asked. What countries can an American travel to? What are the costs associated? How do I get from country to country? What resources do I need? Is there a language barrier? I had to learn all of these things. But if I didn't set that goal initially, I wouldn't be in the position to be asking those questions. And I hit the goal. I went to 20 countries before turning 20. Some of them I went to as much as 6 times now, like Italy and Germany. So, it's all about stretching the mindset. What I didn't realize is that all of that travel would give me the feeling of luxury, and I could have everything I wanted on my own terms. And once your mind is stretched and once you realize you're capable of achieving that, you can't go back to the initial mindset. Your mindset doesn't shrink.
The resilience that you've had several times in your life. And like that's what you said, that your mindset, once you've shifted, it doesn't go back. That is so powerful. And just the fact that you learned these lessons so early in your life, they will stay with you for the rest of your life. Such great insight, but also such great takeaways for us. I love that you said earlier that goals are the gas that propel you forward. So that's a great takeaway. You also mentioned, and you touched on this briefly in the opening, about your teachings are holistic productivity. So you approach this as an entire wholeness, not just productivity for the sake of pushing forward, which you mentioned a minute ago, which will just stress you, overwhelm you, and basically feel like you're getting something done, but you're really, it's just the busyness. Touch a little bit more on the holistic approach, because I think that is at what people need today more than anything.
Yeah, of course. So when you think about productivity, most of the times you hear about time management. And I focus on this because I know there's such a need for the feeling of structure and the feeling of being organized and just the feeling of being safe and comfortable with where you are. I recognize there's a need for that. But when you think about productivity, it's kind of like an iceberg. What you see at the top are the accomplishments. Time management is the top of it. But underneath time management, you need to be managing your energy appropriately, right? You need to have spiritual well-being. You need to have physical well-being. You need to have a healthy mindset. Time management alone is going to increase your productivity probably, but it's probably also going to increase your stress. Health alone, if you focus on health as a goal, it's going to take away your time. And a great calendar could be, profoundly productive, but without the great mindset to pair with it, all it's going to do is reduce your confidence and increase your self-doubt. So really, I look at myself as the integrator when I'm working with clients. How do you integrate, the emotional well-being with the very visible and tangible and materialistic success, along with the fulfillment and the belongingness in your relationships, along with actually working towards your dream life? Because I personally don't believe that burning out is productive. I don't think it's productive, to wake up at age 60 or 70 and think, I never accomplished my dream, I should have went for it. I don't think it's productive to have those kinds of regrets. At the end of the day, we always regret the things we didn't do. Something that my travels taught me was talk to everyone. Everyone has something to teach you, even if you don't suspect it in the beginning. And I really, truly mean this. Everyone at every age has something to teach and something you can learn from. And I made it a habit to interview people whenever I traveled. What were your regrets in life? What's your drive? Like, what's your motivation? What's the legacy you want to leave behind? I really did my own personal research through conversation on what made people tick. And some of the most common things I heard from people who are older than me is they didn't travel more, they didn't take a chance on a relationship, or they worked so much they let themselves and others down, or they neglected their health and maybe now it's too late. These are the most common things I heard. So immediately at a young age, I was like, how do I make sure those things don't happen to me? I don't want to experience that. I want to have, all the success in how I define it, but I don't want to face these challenges in the future. And that's why it's really important to look at productivity in a holistic way, because maybe you're productive in your 9 to 5 job and maybe you're, getting great results there and you have a great salary. But if your dream is to be a coach or to be a screenwriter or to do something fantastic and completely opposite, you might be productive in your work, but if you're not being productive in life, you're going to feel the sense of misalignment, and it's going to hurt. You're going to feel it. That calling's not going to go away.
Intention. That's the word that came to me when you were speaking. Live life with intention. And like you said, it's not just about the job. You beautifully segued into our next question, by the way, when you said alignment, that things need to be into alignment. Tell us about the significance. You just touched on it, but the significance of alignment to reach peak performance.
Right. So when it comes to alignment, there's two ways I can explain this. There's the spiritual universe side, source side, and then there's also the student side. I'm sure we all remember when we were students, we always had a favorite subject. We always had a subject that wasn't our favorite. We'll put it that way. For me, I loved writing and reading, and I just couldn't stand math in the beginning. I couldn't stand it. I didn't want to do the work. It was difficult. I didn't like feeling like I didn't understand things. So when it came time to do homework, I excelled and had an A+ in writing. And in math, I had to be forced to do homework, forced to go to the tutoring sessions and really push to do things. And that's how I learned, tenacity. But what I noticed is English was just as hard. I made just as many mistakes and it took just as much energy to learn from it. But because I enjoyed it, it seemed pretty effortless. And this is something I see a lot with college students. The first year of college is you're excited. You can't wait. You're learning new things. Maybe the classes aren't as great, but you balance it out because you're enjoying the experience as a whole. But then you have senioritis, I think they call it. At the last year of college, you're like, wait a minute. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. This isn't fun anymore. What do I do now? How do I find the motivation? And 9 times out of 10, it's because the first year of college, you're working towards this amazing vision of you're going to wake up one day and have a perfect job and a perfect life, and everything's going to be amazing because you got a degree. And in the 4th year, you've seen all of your friends at that university run into life challenges, which happens to everyone. You see students who graduated and maybe didn't get the dream job, or maybe went in a completely different direction, or who were lost and stressed, and you're concerned that maybe that's going to happen to you. Maybe you aren't so sure about what's next. And as soon as you're hit with that uncertainty, it becomes very hard for you to focus forward. And that's where the lack of alignment comes from. Maybe 4 years in, you've realized, I studied something I'm not that interested in. Now what? Am I going to be forced into a career that I don't have any interest in? Am I going to be put 4 years behind to study something else, right? All these questions start coming up. But when you're in alignment in life, in business, in relationships, everything just seems to flow. And that's where we want to be. We want to be in a place of flow in all areas of our life. And something I've come to learn over the years, and I've heard many others experience the same, is the universe tends to nudge you in the right direction. When you're going very obviously the wrong direction in life, you're gonna have the universe slap you in the face a couple times, say, hey, it's first gonna be a gentle nudge, like, don't do that. This is a bad idea. Your intuition's gonna be calling to you to stop doing the thing. And if you don't listen and you're not obedient, you're gonna find that things get harder and harder, and it's almost impossible to reach the goal of doing something you're not meant to do. And sometimes you ask, this is usually when you start asking yourself the question, why is this happening to me? If you're asking that question, there's a lesson to be learned. So it's time to be humble and start looking deeper into this. But also what I've learned, which took a lot more time to learn, is that when you're acting in alignment, which is usually when you're doing the scary thing, the thing that you're afraid of, the goal that's so big you can't possibly achieve it on your own, when you're doing that thing, the universe isn't throwing those crazy curveballs as much. Now those nudges are more in the form of momentum and quantum leaps that are propelling you forward, which you won't experience until you're in alignment. But when you're in alignment, magic starts to happen. And you want to feel that, because yes, you can reach financial success and wealth and happiness and all the things you want in life to put you in a position of thriving. You can achieve all of those things, get to that place and not be happy, not be healthy, be stressed. Or you can get there and just say, wow, what a ride. Can't wait to tell the story. This is fun. And it's going to be your decision, the story you tell and the way you tell it in the future.
I feel like the universe has slapped you around quite a bit to get you where you are right now, Tiffany. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I love the story. I love the analogy, actually. It's so true, because you're right. When you do find that alignment, and that is so vital, it does go into flow. But until you get there, you're I know so many individuals who say, why is this happening to me? And now I'll just say, well, speak to Tiffany. She's got slapped around a lot. So that it's the universe telling you to wake up and get into alignment. But yes, so many takeaways there. Oh my gosh, you're absolutely right. You could get to the end of your life and you could have so much wealth financially, but you're not healthy, or you're not you've neglected your family, or you've neglected relationships. Oh, you see that so often, where an individual, one of the spouses, gets super successful, but they get divorced because maybe they're neglecting their partner, or there's egos involved. And oh my gosh, so alignment is so vital. That was so enlightening. You beautifully said and beautifully put. And I'm sorry the universe has slapped you around, but I think this is where you need to be now. And it's all coming together for sure. So, biology and stress, fabulous and so interesting, because I'm all about the science as well. I think it's teaching us so much today about our bodies, our human mind, our humanness, in fact, and our reptilian brain that likes to keep us back. But in our earlier conversation, you said that you use biology to schedule yourself with stress. I found that really fascinating and a little disturbing, because I don't know about most people, but I don't really want to schedule myself with stress. But just maybe tell us a little bit about that statement.
Yeah. So I find that especially in the West, people tend to forget they're human, and they put suits on and heels on. They drive these cool little automobiles called cars, and we think that now we're a completely different species and we're not human anymore. And it's funny to think about, and I like to make light of this. But we're human. We're just as much nature as the tree or the pet you have. We're life. We are life, and life has needs, right? You don't deprive your dog of sleep. You don't deprive a plant of water. We know what happens, right? It's not good. So we need to stop doing this to ourselves. And even though the world is becoming more interesting and more entertaining and more distracting than ever, we can't forget our source and what we come from. And we see what happens when we do. When the body needs sleep and it's sleep deprived, you're going to have symptoms of ADHD, whether you have it or not. You're going to have a hard time focusing. You're going to have low emotional intelligence, and you're going to call it a lack of discipline. Okay. If you skip meals to work and then you give into temptation to eat something that's not so good for you in the evening, you're going to feel guilty and you're going to say, oh, I just can't trust myself. I'm just not a healthy type of person. And it's not that. The body will always take care of itself. The subconscious mind's main prime directive is to preserve the body and keep you safe. And part of that is taking care of itself. So you can't think of this as in terms of self-sabotage. If you take care of the body's needs proactively, it's not going to sabotage you in the future. So this needs to be built into your schedule. And this ties back to the first question that I always get asked. I don't have enough time for sleep. How do I fit in exercise? And I don't even have time for meals. There's always an answer for something. If you say I don't have, or it's just not possible, or you say I don't know, the question stops there and there's no space to learn. There's no onward conversation. You need to start increasing the quality of questions you ask in order to start increasing your quality of life. And a great way to do that is, how can I get the same amount of work done and still get my nutrition right? How can I still accomplish the same level and caliber of work while still getting 8 hours of sleep? Because that's where you're working on increasing efficiency while still taking care of your body. And that's what I mean with that. When you start taking care of your body, you reduce stress drastically. People love to take medicine for reducing stress. But when you say sleep 8 hours a night, they're like, no, that's too much. That's way too much to give, right? And same thing with nutrition. Eating healthy, that's way too much. It's just too much to think about. I have to do the grocery shopping and the meal prepping and then timing everything, and it's just all too much. I'm just going to take supplements and protein shakes, and then I'll be healthy, right? This is a long game. Anything worth it's a long game. And when you start scheduling for it, you can, increase your efficiency around it. And that's what I mean by that. Reducing stress is so much as learning how the nervous system works and learning how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, learning what works for you and the way you enjoy it, and then scheduling time for it so that stress isn't part of your lifestyle anymore.
I hope that people heed that information and take it and run with it, because we really do need to schedule. I mean, it's planning, basically, planning and with intention. And of course, this is why we need you, is to show us how to do this all and have it all come together like a puzzle. Because you're right, there are so many aspects to life, whether it's love, laughter, exercise, health, working. Oh my gosh, it's endless. Pets, children, relationships. You get those pieces of the puzzle, but how do we make them fit so it becomes a complete puzzle? As opposed to, I see it scattered all over the table. When you dump it out of the box, that's what our life looks like before we come to somebody like you. That's how I see it. I'm just a very visual individual, but yeah, I see that. And it's so important to have that, and to have a coach that helps you provide the steps that you can have to put your puzzle together in one piece. I love that. So tell us about the top 3 tips. Productivity will, the productivity tips that you have that you come across most often.
So I love that analogy with the puzzle. I'm already thinking about real ideas. That's awesome. As far as the top 3 tips, if you wear more than one hat in your life, meaning if you have a full-time job and a side business, if you have a family and a company, if you're wearing multiple hats, even if you have a business and then you're multiple roles like operations and marketing and sales and all the things, you don't want to work the to-do list anymore. You want to jump on a calendar. Point blank. You want to jump into a calendar because you're going to be able to very visually set your boundaries, which will make it a lot easier for you to listen to them, respect them, and communicate them. So immediately jump onto a Google Calendar. No more to-do lists, no more to-do list stress. We're over that. The second thing you want to do is do a time audit this week. Very easy to do. You sign up for Google Calendar. It's free, and you want to count for every 30 minutes of your day for a week. This is a little bit tedious and can be frustrating. On the fun scale, it's probably like a 4 out of 10 fun. But on the value scale, it's a 10 out of 10 value. You want to know where your time is going before you schedule yourself. What you don't want to do is create a perfect calendar and then not do anything and then say calendars don't work. That's what we don't want to do. Find out where your time is going first, and then you can set goals and objectives accordingly. And the third tip I will say is to increase your energy supply before trying to optimize the time. So often what I see is we treat ourselves like our cell phones, but instead of charging the phone to 100% overnight, we start the day with maybe 50 or 60% energy, and then we try so carefully to optimize that 50 or 60% without thinking of how do I get it to 100. So if you're listening right now and energy is a pain point for you and you're stressed and you're overwhelmed, start thinking first, how can I get my energy level to 100%? And then focus on optimizing it rather than just working with, whatever else is left.
And one of the key ways to up your energy would be what?
Sleep. There's 4. Sleep more, track your sleep. Exercise on a daily basis, even if that means 20 to 30 minutes of walking consistently. Even if that means spending time with family, being social, getting that social energy from other people, enjoying quality time with people who bring you up. And nutrition, eating the right food and being intentional about it. Working with a nutritionist for the first time if you don't know anything about food yourself. Finding someone who knows more about nutrition than you so you can learn the ropes, and then you don't have to rely on all of the free advice on Google in the future.
Dr. Google. Dr. Google can be good, it could be bad, because you could get stuck on Dr. Google all day. But as
Absolutely.
well, not all day, but yes, it was very distracting. So I love that. Get yourself a calendar, uh, schedule your calendar, or no, you want to track your time and
Right.
how you're wasting it. Probably you'll probably be shocked at the things that you're doing. I would suspect most people, if they've never done that type of work. And then the third is to up your energy. So
Yes,
those are
absolutely.
great tips. I love them. I love them. That second one, so you can grab that one on the internet. That second, to track your day, your timetable. Okay, well, I would probably throw my computer out the window because I don't really want to know where I'm wasting. Isn't that terrible? But we all need to do it and get ourselves to the mat, and just because I'm a yoga person, but yes, get yourself to the mat and just do the work. That's what they always say. Just dig in and do the work. I want you to tell us now, very exciting news. Tiffany is launching a brand new program called the Stress Less Bioscheduling Method. Tell our audience what that is going to be all about.
I'm really excited about this program. The details aren't completely finalized and being a little bit secretive like this on purpose because I want people to follow the journey in creating it. But I've been on this amazing journey of interviewing entrepreneurs from all over the world on their time management, scheduling, and stress frustrations. And I'm building out the absolute dream program to help entrepreneurs through this holistically and in a full way, not just focusing on time management, but really teaching the foundations of what makes a life productive. So some of those course outcomes are going to be gaining clarity on where you are today and where you want to be 6 months and a year from now, having crystal clear idea on what your purpose is, what your values are, and what your vision is so you can see. And we're going to be breaking that vision down into goals together as a group with group support. You're going to finally have that time block digital calendar system that represents your values and measurably, the keyword measurably, contributes towards your goals. And you're going to have a low stress system for prioritizing your tasks. You're also going to learn how to interpret your own biometrics to optimize your workflow and brain function for increased productivity. So I'm having everyone start tracking their sleep and their exercise in order to optimize their energy. And they're going to learn how to do that. And they're also going to have the go-to tools and biohacks for increasing energy and scheduling predictably focused hours.
Amazing, amazing. And when will this be launching? Do you have a set date yet?
Yeah, we're looking at the end of October. So the first thing to look out
Mm,
for is going to be the master class where I teach all of these things right in the master class. And then for those that want to go deeper, the group program will be launching end of October.
okay, everybody. We'll be posting all of that information as well, not just on her bio, but I'll be sure to post an announcement on my Instagram page. It sounds really exciting. I can't wait to check it out myself. So, because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, I have one last question for you, Tiffany. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
An epic story. Tease. I would say something along the lines of modern freedom. Freedom. I think in the
Modern
West, we're living
freedom.
in a world of final slavery, and it's just wrapped up so beautifully and looking like comfort that it just seems normal and it's okay. But most of us aren't really free. And my absolute goal is to inspire others to pursue their own version of freedom and really experience the life that I've been able to create for myself in their way.
I love that. That's really unique. That's a great title. Thank you so much. Well, I wanted to thank you as well for being here again, Tiffany, and giving us all that great information. There's no excuses now. Everybody has at least a little bit of some guidance as what we can do. And if you have any questions, want to explore more, be sure to check out the free workshops and downloadables that are inside the Facebook group of Tiffany's. It's called Coach Tiffany Taylor. All of this information and the hyperlinks will be available on Tiffany's bio. So you can go there and explore. And I do encourage you to use these resources because they are so valuable. And all of, like I said, be sure to check out her contact information and her social media links. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath and check out how you can become an epic entrepreneur at janeapplegath.com. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dream into epic success.